it was agreed that people will move freely within the region.
East Africa tunaona kama tumeilalamikia siku nyingi sana, mpaka wabunge wa East Africa wamekuja hapa tukafanya mkutano nao tukawapa shida zao, lakini bado shida ni zile zile.
Kenyans come with their things hawking up to in my village, but they are not touched. Nobody even asks. But let a Ugandan cross, even with oranges on, they don't want. So we don't know whether Kenyans do not want to become East Africa or...
Hello and welcome to East African Voices this week, where we look at matters cross-border trade among the East African Community member states. I'm your host, Laban Cliff Onserio. Today we begin our show here at the Malaba Cross-Border Market, which is in between Kenya and Uganda. Inter-regional trade in the region is mainly facilitated by women who mainly use informal procedures due to a lack of knowledge of formal procedures. We take a look at how this can be curbed and why they opt for such means.
In our time at the border, we interact with a few traders who have relied on the Malaba cross-border market for their livelihoods. Meet 43-year-old Florence Waiswa, a retired teacher. I caught up with her at her market area in Malaba. She shares her story with us.
Where I come from is when this NADS program started educating people about the oranges. That is Teso region. And those are purely farmers. So we have the cross oranges as many as one can plant. So many lemons, as you are looking at the lemons, as you are looking at the oranges, all what crosses to Kenya, nanasi, yarn, granules, what. I started bringing small. I saw that people were buying. I came with my brothers. We speak one language, but people bring goods here. We are all Itesos. We started bringing, and we are bringing up to today.
A business venture that she has not regretted over time.
I've already have a home in Malaba. So I see that coming to Malaba, where there is my home, is better than going to Busia. So I continually bring my goods.
More often than not, trade regulations are under the tax system, where traders evade the payment of dues at border points. The United Nations notes that 7 in every 10 cross-border traders are women who mainly trade in agricultural produce.
What they want was very high. Even if you went and took one band of ngangano, atukatishe, yani utapata faida. So we could just smuggle. We pass. We use these women who carry things, as you see the caveras on the shoulders. They carry small up this side. Now when they bring those things on this side, you keep them somewhere. You get a vehicle at night. You take your things from back like that. When they arrest you, you pay for that. When they don't arrest you, you are through.
Due to the relatively high taxes charged at the border points, traders will opt for informal means to transport their goods, and one such means is through the panya routes, such as this experienced here at River Malaba, where traders will actually pack their goods into small cargos and transport them to neighboring countries, hence bypassing the custom officials.
When you go there in a formal way, they are very expensive. I will not get profit. They will make sure I don't have and even have entered my capital. Why not to go for the informal?
Uganda's Revenue Authority has a keen focus on tapping into the potential of informal cross-border traders.
Previously, it used to be called smuggling. These days, we call it cross-border trade. Because if I move across and buy a packet of biscuits, have I smuggled? Maybe, maybe not. So what we do now, we have simplified processes, actually even outside the secular world, for those smaller traders. You don't need an agent, it's just one single piece of sheet you capture and record and go. So that you make it easier for them to comply with the taxes.
If they want to kufinyas, we shall continue the informal trade. If they love us also like human beings as they are, we shall go formal.
Apart from Malaba, how is the practice in other border points? This is the Namanga border point, which links Kenya and Tanzania. The activities around the border are telling of the extent of cross-border trading activities taking place here. While the volume of activity may not be as intense as that at Malaba, traders here still make demands on their governments.
Watu walikuwa wanapitia Panyaru kwa sababu watu hawakuwa wanajua sheria na hawakuwa wanajua utaratibu. Miaka zilizopita niseme 2-3 tulikuwa tunaona mahala kama custom kama ni mahala pabaya kabisa, ni mahali watu wanaweza kudhulumiwa. Kwa hiyo ile shida ilikuwa hapo awali ni ushirikiano ya maofisa wa serikali na wafanyabiashara. Mtu anaumia pasipo kujua ya kwamba iko njia ambaye anaweza kupitia na afanye biashara kwa njia halali.
Darting around vehicles prospecting for customers, the women traders, many of whom are the elderly, sell their ornaments to tourists and citizens of both countries.
Wafanyabiashara wadogo inaumia mara mingi. Inaumia kwa sababu wenyewe biashara yao ni ndogo. Hawezi kusafirisha, anauza hapa, hawezi kupata faida. Wafanyabiashara mkubwa anamaga biashara yake kila mahali.
Meet 90-year-old Hoka Maria. She trades in ornamental items and these earnings are her source of livelihood.
Anasomesha watoto, nafanya kazi ya nyumbani miaka nyingi sana, lakini sasa siku hizi hakuna kazi. Sisi hakuna soko, nafanya hawking tu. Kuna kazi siku hizi wasungu hakuna. Hizi na baadisha tu watu nyeusi na kuja na ususia.
Traders such as Maria called on border officials for support by the creation of market facilities, a move that is expected to discourage the use of informal means at border points.
Nasema hakuna soko, nasema najenga, lakini bado hajaona soko yetu. Sisi wote ya barabara hakuna soko ya kwenda kukaa. Sisi wote hata watu na sisi wote naenda kwa barabara tu.
Imekuwa na changamoto kadha, unaona hapa ilikuwa imechimbwa hapa na hapa, mabarabara ikaleta challenge kidogo, lakini tunashukuru kwa sababu tumeona jengo linaendelea na tunajua itakapomalizika mambo yatakwenda vizuri.
Policy players have made steps towards an engagement with the informal sector on the merits of channeling goods through lawful means. A lack of understanding of the elements of the Common Market Protocol within the East African community has partly contributed to the use of such informal means by traders in the East African community.
Earlier, it was only known that only the big fish can trade. So the small person used to do things in the shortcut ways. They either go through things we call panya routes, and those routes, of course, there's nothing nobody will charge you anything. There's no question of whether the goods are expired or not expired, whether the quality is good or not good. The packaging sometimes is also a challenge. But with the current system that is being put in place, even the beginner of business today, somebody who is initiating an idea today, is well informed of their involvement and their requirements.
Watu walikuwa wajapata kuelewa umuhimu wa kupita katika gate pass. Walikuwa na uoga kwa sababu ufishaji ulikuwa wengi, wadanganyifu walikuwa ni wengi. Lakini sasa stakeholders walipoingia kuwafundisha, sasa njia ya panya route imekuwa ni afadhali kidogo, sio kama zamani.
We're now taking a commercial break. When we come back, we travel all the way to Gatuna, which is a border point of Uganda and Rwanda. Stay with East African Voices. Welcome back. We're now in the southern part of Uganda, and this is River Chiruruma. And the bridge that I'm on right now is the exact border point between Uganda and Rwanda. Still staying with informal cross-border trade, let's now look at how the revenue authorities are bringing more of these informal cross-border traders into the tax net.
A quick remedy on the lack of information is a concerted effort by the tax collectors to train traders on tax requirements. The use of ICT also presents a double-edged sword to the revenue authorities in casting the net wide.
We have a very versatile system called e-tax. What it does, for example, is that it relates transactions. So if you have supplied me goods and I have paid you and I have captured that transaction in my returns, the system then will check whether that money you received, you have paid income tax. Previously, one would have had to run around and look for somebody. So now it relates third parties.
While the use of technology can cause a jump in collections, traders on the ground say that implementation of the system is tedious.
Watu wengine sisi hatujui kusoma na kuandika. Lakini anakuambia mashine hii hapa utakuwa unashikashika hapa hivi kodi inalipwa huko. Alafu hiyo mashine wanakuambia ile karatasi ya kufidi humo itoe kale kadisiti inauzwa na kampuni moja tu iliyotengwa rasmi. Sasa mtu asafiri kutoka Sirari aende afuate hiyo karatasi Mwanza aje auze boksi 2 za sabuni ni export taxless. Niambie hizo gharama zinakava na nani?
At the moment they see as an uncertainty because they haven't used the system. They haven't used this procedure. As they use the procedure and they know the procedure, I'll tell you, they will be so happy that yeah, we have moved into this. This is this is the next level. This is a higher level, and that's where you can experience something that you haven't experienced before. So for me, I'm definitely confident that these are the teething problems when you start with a new thing, but after a while it will go away and people will be very happy to use that new system.
People need to understand that when an item is being taxed, government has already made analysis, but in a way they should be able to benefit back. So I think it's really not a bad thing that we are beginning to look at the agriculture sector for taxing, but we should be careful as we do that, not to discourage farmers from certain types of agricultural crops or products. But as we do that, we need to explain to them why we have done so.
The Common Market Protocol is anchored on 4 pillars. Key among these that support trade are that of free movement of goods and people. However, 5 years since the protocol came into force, East Africans have not fully embraced the cohesive trade relations as envisaged by the protocol. Take for instance,
upande wa Tanzania ndio sasa iko shida zaidi kwa sababu watutembee huko. Wao wanatembea mpaka Kisii, magari yao wanasomesha watoto hapa. Pikipiki ukiruka naye Tanzania hapa pikipiki sasa ni kama Al-Shabaab ameruka mpaka kakanyaga Kenya.
The above present non-tariff barriers that impede the growth of trade in the region.
Uganda and Rwanda had actually worked out an arrangement that labor can actually freely move within the 3 countries, provided that labor can purely be identified and also can be fitting within the schedules of the Common Market Protocol.
National committees are formed by the East African Community member states to look into such concerns. Some of the legal measures introduced to curb such impediments include:
we have developed a bill which is now giving the legal weight in terms of elimination of NTBs. The bill specifies legal actions that have to be taken in case a country takes too long to eliminate, particularly those which have been there for a long time.
It is such policies passed on by the community, but the challenge comes in towards their implementation. We sought the views of the East African Legislative Assembly Speaker on what it will take for the countries to implement such directives in the various jurisdictions.
Not all countries are yet at the same pace, but what is encouraging is that they are working towards that arrangement. Where they need to go and ratify, for instance, the protocols in the national parliaments, they have done so. So I want to assure you that yes, the pace in one way or another, because at times they have different processes. Some ratify, for instance, just at the cabinet level. Others, it has to be at parliament level. Others, it is even a referendum. So the different stages of ratification at times bring in these differentials. But I want to assure you that there is commitment, there is goodwill that we should integrate as peoples of East Africa.
It's all about people. You can have the best technology, equipment and put it there. If you don't have anybody who knows how to use it and use it productively, it may be a challenge. But that we're also going around it. We usually, encourage. This is why you've seen that we are committed to full liberalization of labor and movement of persons, so that we can address that challenge within the community together.
After the signing of the protocol, it was clear that the member states will work on implementation. The roadmap created for the implementation of the Single Customs Union and the Common Market Protocol have the small-scale traders at its epicenter, and the region has provided a new way towards working on the Single Customs Union and the Common Market Protocol.
The partner states are the ones that do the implementation. For us at the Secretariat of the EAC, we do the coordination. We provide the opportunity for this to happen, for the stakeholders to get together. But implementation is ultimately done at a national level. So we also ensure that our ministers, our permanent secretaries and the different stakeholders at national level report back.
What I appreciate, and I keep appreciating every day, all government stakeholders, they have educated people, be it through media, be it through print media, there's radio, there's TV, there is also the awareness through campaigns. They also do workshops, like quarterly. We have Kenya Bureau of Standards, they do it quarterly. We have Kenya Revenue Authority, they advertise all over. So through education by these stakeholders, every single business that is being initiated, the owners, they are very well informed.
Even as we relate to these traders at the Malaba border point, traders such as Florence Waiswa have this plea to make.
In each and every country, people need to be talked to. Not to look at us as either enemies, and yet you people, you come here and you are free, you enjoy. Then when we come to your side, you look at us as enemies. What's happening?
Florence represents the plea of many informal cross-border traders in East Africa to ensure that governments devise methods of including them into the tax set, and more than that, also ensuring that there is a free flow of goods, people and services. That's all the time we had for On East African Voices this week. We're glad you joined us and we'd love to hear from you. Find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at EA Voices, or feel free to write to us. Our email address is on your screen. On behalf of the team that made this production possible, from right here in Nairobi till same time next week, it's goodbye.